We're back live in Richmond, California at the Memorial Auditorium, and Marvis Frazier coming into the ring with his father, Joe Frazier, his cousin, Rodney. And let's take a close-up look about the young man who knows the pros and cons of being a Frazier.
Former heavyweight champion Joe Frazier will be forever identified with his dramatic trio of fights against Muhammad Ali. Frazier's dynamism and courage became a benchmark for his son Marvis, who has mighty big shoes to fill. And Marvis knows the pros and cons of being a Frazier.
There's some pluses and some minuses to being Joe Frazier's son. First of all, it's going to be fair because of the Frazier name, you know. I have Joe Frazier in my corner, so naturally that's going to pump some fear. But then again, on the other hand, the negative side is that, you know, the average guy who really doesn't train for the average Joe Blow, he's going to train for me because he realizes he probably can get something by being a Frazier.
Marvis has shown his father's fire and an ability to move bigger men, as Joe did. But in his title fight against Larry Holmes, Marvis appeared frail by comparison, due mainly to one big punch from the champ. After his loss, observers suggested he was too small to be a heavyweight. Perhaps he should move to the 195-pound cruiser division.
Well, a lot of people talk about, you know, the cruiserweights, you know, and say, well, Marvis, you're a little guy. But if you look back in the olden days, guys like Marciano, guys like Joe Louis, they were only like 200, 195. You know, my record is only 15-1. And since I lost to the champion, everybody all of a sudden now says, well, you should go down to cruiser. You know, he's not big enough, but they forget, you know, all those other 15 guys that I beat up, you know. They forget about them.
Marvis Frazier, well, I've been joined at ringside by our Gil Clancy. And Gil, as I look at this matchup, I can't help but think that Bonecrusher Smith at 235 is just too big for the 206-pound Marvis Frazier.
Well, Tim, Marvis Frazier's been on a weight program. In the gymnasium, he looks very, very strong and well-conditioned. I also give him an edge in hand speed and foot speed. Now, with Bonecrusher, I call him the woulda, coulda, shoulda heavyweight. Against Larry Holmes, he was one punch away from being heavyweight champion, and he should have thrown the punch. Against Tony Tubbs and Witherspoon, he just wasn't busy enough. Now, I think he's learned from that. Emil Griffith, his trainer, says he's going to come out smoking, and that could be the key to the fight.
All right, well, we'll have round one of this heavyweight bout live from Richmond, California. CBS Sports Sunday continues after this word from your local station. Richmond, California, Vin Langella.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the beautiful Richmond Memorial Auditorium in Richmond, California. Our main event is a 10-round heavyweight bout. This bout has been sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, Commissioner Jerry Nathanson. Now introducing the contestants in the red corner, fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 206.5 pounds, a record 15 wins, 1 loss, 7 knockouts. Introducing Marvis Frazier. And his very worthy opponent in the blue corner, fighting out of Magnolia, North Carolina, weighing in at 234.25 pounds, a record 15 wins, 4 losses, 12 knockouts. Introducing James the Bonecrusher Smith.
Ready to go here as they get their instructions from the referee Hank Ellis Crew from Sacramento. And the weight differential is an imposing one. James Smith coming in today at 235 pounds, just under, and Marvis Frazier at 206, as we see right here, 206.5 for Marvis Frazier. Frazier, 25 years of age. James Smith, 30 years old, born in Magnolia, North Carolina, graduate of Shaw College and an all-service champion with a record of 15-4 and 12 knockouts. Marvis Frazier, currently ranked number 10 in the world by the WBC, born in Philadelphia, recently moved with his wife and young child to Wyncote, Pennsylvania, nearby Philadelphia, a record of 15-1, and we're underway with round one. The judges are Joan Ortega and Jack Campbell, both from the San Francisco Bay Area, and they will join in the scoring on the 10-point system here in California with the referee Hank Ellis crew. Smith in red, Marvis Frazier in black.
Tim, I think an early thing to look for is whether or not Marvis can handle Bonecrusher Smith's jab. If the Bonecrusher can set him up with that left jab, it's going to be a tough night for Marvis.
Smith pounding Frazier against the far ropes, and Frazier seeming either unwilling or unable to get off those ropes. Now finally ties up Bonecrusher Smith. Frazier not been throwing punches back here.
Tim Griffith said he was going to have Bonecrusher coming out smoking. That's what he's doing.
And these appear to be loose ropes on this ring here with Frazier leaning against him. He's not getting a whole lot of purchase. A lot of spring in them, as you can see. Smith just leaning on Frazier, using that weight advantage, forcing the pace early. Round one scheduled for 10.
What Marvis has to do is have Smith expend his energy, Tim, and then try to come on later on. He's got to survive these early rounds.
Well, that may be his strategy, although you can hear Father Joe saying get off the ropes, and now finally a combination back from Marvis Frazier. Nearly halfway through. Round one scheduled for 10.
Well, there's the counter for the jab, that good left hook.
Frazier finally comes off the ropes as Smith backed up. A solid shot to the body by the Bonecrusher.
Lifted Marvis right off his feet, Tim. What power.
Under a minute to go in round number one. And a big round so far by James Smith, who's simply been the busier of the two boxers as Frazier chose to lay on the ropes and let Smith pound away. Now it's Marvis Frazier coming on.
Low blow.
To the 30-second mark we go in round number one.
Tim, I can see Frazier's strategies hanging to the body, trying to take some of that stamina out of Bonecrusher.
He landed a solid right to the chin right after you picked up on that, Gil. He got Smith's attention. There's an uppercut that scored.
Sure did get his attention.
And a left hand, and another left hand by Frazier. Now an uppercut back from Smith. Final seconds of round number one, and it's action-packed. Round number two. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy live from Richmond, California. And James Smith got off the stool over there almost wearily to begin round number two. He threw an awful lot of leather in the first 2 minutes of the round, and I gave him the round on that basis, but Frazier finished strongly.
Tim finished strongly and landed some good body shots. That takes the legs away from the other fighter.
Round number two. And just a quick reference back, if we will, to our coverage of the San Diego track meet where Joe Dial won the much-anticipated pole vault with a leap of 19 feet 1/4 inch. Sergei Bubka, the new world indoor record holder, did not compete. He hurt his shoulder at Los Angeles in a meet there on Friday night. Did not compete today. American Billy Olson was second with 18 feet 4.5 inches. Okay, back to boxing. That's for those of you track aficionados who were following the exciting pole vault activity that's been going on all week, the last couple of weeks, here in the U.S. with Bubka coming over to challenge the Americans.
Tim, Bonecrusher's back to that pattern of pawing with his left jab, trying to land the one big shot. And he's already bleeding from the nose.
Well, I know that your old great champion, Emil Griffith, now the trainer of Bonecrusher Smith, among some other fine professional boxers, has been trying to get him to stay more active, not to load up on the one punch.
Well, he started that way in the first round. Tim got counted a few times, and he went right back to the old pattern.
A little conversation now between Frazier and Bonecrusher Smith. I think Marvis probably has gained some confidence by weathering the early assault from Smith in round one.
Well, Tim, I remember in the Holmes fight, all of a sudden Marvis started to showboat. The next thing you knew, he was on the canvas. I think he would learn a lesson from that fight.
Well, probably the champion in his corner, Daddy Joe, will be reminding him of that when he comes back to the corner. Different kind of round than round one, where Frazier lay on the ropes and let Smith wire away at him. Now they're out in the middle of this large ring. It's 20.5 feet inside the ropes.
And Tim, it's a very, very slow ring. It's heavily padded. which should be an advantage for Bonecrusher because he's the puncher. But also in a heavily padded ring, you get tired a little quicker.
Under a minute to go in round number 2. A little blood from the nose of Bonecrusher Smith. Nothing serious at all. Marvis Frazier says, forget the cruiserweights. I'm a heavyweight. He will attempt to prove that again today, giving away more than 20 pounds here under the 30-second mark. Round 2.
He's already beaten one of the biggest heavyweights, James Broad.
Yes, indeed. Final seconds of round number 2 of the scheduled 10-round heavyweight bout. Combination landed by Frazier. He finished well in round 1. Round 3 live from Richmond, California. Marvis Frazier in black, Bonecrusher Smith in red. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy bringing you the heavyweight action on Sports Sunday. Uppercuts from Smith. And a big left hand from Marvis Frazier.
And that's what happens when you throw an uppercut from outside, you're wide open.
Frazier now backing up. Bonecrusher Smith.
And that uppercut again. This may get to be a contest of Smith's uppercut against Marvis's left hook. Here's that uppercut, and here's the hook. Tim, you know, this is a family affair. Look how tough these guys are fighting. When Emil Griffith got married, Joe Frazier was his best man, and Griffith is the godfather for one of Joe Frazier's daughters.
Yeah, they were chatting with each other before the fight as the boxers arrived to get ready earlier today, as though they were just going to go out there and have a friendly sparring session, but the boxers themselves have other ideas. There's a right to the head. That backs up Marvis Frazier. 2 big shots in a row by the Bonecrusher.
First, he hurt Marvis with a right uppercut first, Tim.
And then he just missed a wild haymaker.
Just air-conditioned the arena with that one.
A very live crowd here. Good boxing fans in the Bay Area. Last big television fight out here was on CBS several years ago. Leon Spinks and Kevin Isaac. And so they've been starved for a big TV fight. They're enjoying this one.
Marvis is really banging to that body, Tim.
Frazier's been the busier fighter of the two in rounds 2 and 3, but now the Bonecrusher comes on. Pounding away at Frazier, but the little man won't back up.
Not only he won't back up, Tim, he's backing up the Bonecrusher.
Under a minute to go, round 3.
A lot of those punches are borderline punches by Marvis.
And he gets a warning from the referee, Hank Elliscrew, in Sacramento. Uppercut scored by Frazier.
Marvis looks like much better conditioned, a much better conditioned fighter, Tim. Bonecrusher showing a little sign of being tired.
Under the 30-second mark, we go in round number 3. Smith claimed that he was in great condition, had been staying in the gym, been working very hard, and certainly looks trim, but showing the effects of the pace.
Again, those big muscle guys have a tendency to get tired.
Final seconds of round number 3.
They're in beautiful condition.
Here's some action from round number 3. An uppercut landed right there, solid one. It backed up Marvis Frazier. Now we're live in round number 4. Bonecrusher Smith in red, Marvis Frazier in black. Well, we didn't get a chance to show it to you between rounds, but it was a first for me, Gil, and probably for you. We had a belly dancing ring card girl.
Looked like the Queen of Sheba.
That was a first as far as I know here in Richmond, California. All right, round 4 action. We talked about the conditioning factor and that perhaps Smith showing a little more wear and tear in the early going here. He just lands right there, but it is safe to say that these are the 2 best conditioned and best looking physically heavyweights that have been in a television fight in the last several years.
Tim, you're right, Tim. They're throwing punches with bad intentions.
I sure got tired of looking at the lard over the belts of some of the better known heavyweights that we've been watching recently. These 2 guys got themselves in proper physical condition for this one?
Well, Tim, I think they had two real good trainers, if I say so myself, Emil Griffith and Joe Frazier. Who could be better than that?
Well, that's right. I can't imagine either one of them allowing some of the looks that we've seen in the heavyweight range.
Bonecrusher always has a look on his face, Tim, like he's in distress. Some fighters are deadpan, not the Bonecrusher.
Interesting man, the Bonecrusher, married to a school teacher who's here, his wife Reba. 2 kids, boy and a girl. Graduate of Shaw College. Big left hand by Marvis Frazier. A combination back from Smith. And an uppercut from Smith.
And a hook from Frazier.
Boy, they're both landing here. The most consistent punishment of the fight in that last exchange by both fighters.
Bonecrusher was so sure he was going to win this fight. He felt that Marvis was a lot too small, not strong enough. Another low blow by Marvis Frazier. But Frazier certainly is showing a lot more strength than he had shown in previous fights. That weightlifting certainly did help him.
We're in round 4, scheduled for 10. Tim Ryan with Joe Clancy live on CBS Sports Sunday. What an afternoon of basketball. Great speed skating effort by the Americans, and now it's the Bonecrusher and Marvis, and they're going toe-to-toe.
Well, Marvis's foot speed is frustrating Bonecrusher right now.
Now Smith complaining of being butted by Frazier, and he walks back to his corner.
Tim, you remember in the Larry Holmes fight, he was cut, and they asked him if he wanted to continue, and he said no. And he had Holmes badly cut.
Well, there is a cut at the corner of the left eye. It may indeed have come from a butt.
Tim, no matter what it came from, he's in a fight, and he's supposed to fight.
That's right. I'm not sure what's going through his mind right now, but he's certainly been inactive. Now there comes the jab. Back live in Richmond, California, and the doctor did come in to take a look at the cut over the left eye of Bonecrusher Smith, and it does not look too bad. It's a question now of his attitude. Marvis Frazier comes out with a little fire here in this 5th round, perhaps sensing that Smith is disturbed by the cut more than hurt by it, and maybe less willing to do battle.
Smith is very, very discouraged right now, Tim. For him to get back in this fight again, something good is going to have to happen. He's going to have to land a big solid punch or maybe cut Marvis Frazier, something to get his adrenaline going again. He's completely lost his confidence. Oh, there was a big right uppercut by the Bonecrusher, but nothing happened.
Now Smith turns Frazier to the ropes, and Marvis survived there quite handily in round number 1, just blocking many of the blows and letting Smith wear himself out.
And that's exactly what's happening. Good left hook by Marvis, short punch. And they're screaming at Marvis to get off the ropes.
Left and a right by Bonecrusher, landing to the forehead. There's a solid left by Bonecrusher Smith, but Frazier punched right back.
Marvis Frazier is proving to be quite a heavyweight, quite a formidable heavyweight, in my opinion.
Working well inside the gloves of Bonecrusher Smith and scoring in there.
Short punches, quick punches.
Now he backs up Smith.
He's no longer Joe Frazier's boy. He's a man now, Tim.
Solid right hand by Marvis Frazier. A left back from Smith, but Frazier fighting with a great deal of poise and confidence. Round 5 scheduled for 10. Just missed with a short chopping right.
And those body shots are really taking a lot out of the Bonecrusher now, though.
Nice block there by Frazier on the right-hand lead from Smith. Bonecrusher does not have great hand speed. He does telegraph. You've got a chance to pick them off. But you keep your eyes open, and Frazier's been doing well. Smith's arms down at his side, showing a little more worriness. A solid left by Frazier. Under 30 seconds we go. Round number 5.
And what a work ethic Marvis has. He keeps those hands busy at all times. Digging to the body, back to the head.
Like fighting a heavyweight buzzsaw if you're a little more ponderous.
Oh,
Smith with a combination, letting him fly. He got Frazier with the right hand. Frazier up quickly. He was pulling away when he got the shot, but it did land on the point of his chin and sent him down. The bell sounds, and Marvis Frazier, who had been in command, now comes back to get attention. We'll see it here.
Well, Tim, he missed one left hook, missed another one. He's like chopping wood. He's so strong. And down goes Marvis for that right hand behind the ear. And, Tim, we talked about the adrenaline. Let's see what happens next round. There's a right hand on the chin, another right hand over, and a good solid left hook.
And that was the right hand, the last one. As you saw Frazier trying to pull away because of those two shots that had hurt him. He was trying to get out of the action, and the long arm Smith caught him with that right hand that sent him down. And as I had viewed the round, Frazier was well ahead. Now, of course, you get that extra point for the knockdown, so probably score that one for Smith.
Tim, it's going to be a question of how much confidence this has restored in Smith, because he was really flagging it during the early parts of the round.
There you see Emil Griffith in the background there exhorting his charge, Bonecrusher Smith. There's Papa Joe in the black talking to son Marvis. And you see where they've done a little repair again on the nick over the left eye. And it is just a nick. It was no factor in round 5. All right, we're into round 6, scheduled for 10. A close fight now with the comeback there by Bonecrusher Smith. As we see it, on our card, we've got Frazier 3-2, so we'll see what happens here in this crucial 6th round. Bonecrusher pounding away, and again, Frazier trying to get loose.
He nailed Marvis with a good right hand, Tim. He has him hurt a little bit again.
Frazier
another right hand. Frazier's banging back.
Smith definitely has a rise in confidence from that knockdown. In round 5, trying to keep the pressure on the smaller man.
It's a perfect example of how mental boxing is, Tim. Here was a guy that thought he was all over, didn't have a chance. One big shot, now look how confident he is.
Frazier still standing there on the ropes, blocking many of the shots, but some of the body shots are getting through from Smith. Joe Frazier calling from the corner, get off the ropes.
Tim, after all the punches that Bonecrusher threw, I think that Frazier's in better shape than he is right now.
Frazier just waved him in, and he landed an uppercut. That backs up Smith. Left hand a little short, but he's got Smith backing up. Arm weary, no doubt.
And this Marvis is showing me an awful lot today.
Now Smith just resting over there, put his hands on the rope, keeping his body weight on Marvis. Not scoring at all. Solid right uppercut by Smith. A miss and a good counter landed by Frazier. Two short punches inside by Frazier. This is a good heavyweight fight. Another left by Frazier.
He hurt Smith with that one, Tim. Those body shots are the shots, though, Tim.
Smith with his mouth more wide open as we're into round 6 of the scheduled 10-rounder. Landed a left hand, but Frazier just swung right off it, landed to the body. Little blood from the cut over the left eye of Bonecrusher Smith. That has not been a factor so far. Under 30 seconds we go, and again a warning by the referee, Hank Ellis-Crew, to keep the punches up.
And Smith needed the time to rest him. He is tired.
Yeah, he walked away and around trying to get his breath back. Coming to the end of round number 6. A grueling test. Right hand by Frazier and a left.
Success.
Round number 7. Tim Ryan with Gil Clancy live from the Richmond Memorial Auditorium in Richmond, California. Marvis Frazier in black. Bonecrusher Smith in red. And after the good rally in round 5 and the knockdown scored by Smith, Frazier came right back in round 6 to keep the pressure on Smith, as we saw.
When Marvis is backing away like this, Tim, he's giving a guy like Smith a chance to get set and hit him with a long punch. I think Marvis is much better off inside.
Well, he's been scoring those short punches inside the long arms of Smith when he's been in tight.
I just don't think that Smith can land a big punch unless he has a little room.
Bill Folliard, the cut man in the Smith corner, has done a good job in keeping that slight nick from the accidental butt, the corner of his left eyebrow, from not being any factor in the fight thus far. Joe Frazier hollering out, "Don't wait, Marvis."
Tim, it's easy for a fighter to go forward. You want to get a guy tired, you back him up, and he's allowing Smith to rest a little bit now and go forward.
It has been a grueling pace between these two well-conditioned heavyweights through 6. We're into round 7, scheduled for 10. Frazier ranked number 10 by the WBC. Smith number 8. Obviously an important battle. The winner could well find himself in title contention. Big left by Frazier, landed on the neck and lower cheekbone. Smith glares back at him, indicating he wasn't hurt by it.
Tim, Marvis did just a great job of boxing that time. He slipped about 8 or 9 jabs and then countered with the hook. He's sticking his head out there in his perfect time. They're slipping that jab all the time now.
Then he worked his way in, as you had suggested he should just a moment ago. Taunting here of Smith, indicating I'm a tough target. You've been missing me.
Tim, he better start punching besides slipping punches, though.
Under a minute to go in the 7th round.
It's a heavyweight fight. One big punch again.
Pace has slowed somewhat, but again, if you just joined us, they were going at it for 6 solid rounds. Continuous action, and it is showing on them now. A little bit of a rest round for both boxers. Oh, right uppercut by Smith, and that's the kind of punch Gil indicated could just turn it around.
Tim, if he hit Marvis with that one, he would have launched him. They wouldn't have been able to find him to count him out. He went right through the roof.
Right over us. Coming to the final seconds, there's a solid right by Smith. Into the final seconds of round 7. Smith measuring. Round number 8 here on CBS Sports Sunday, live from Richmond, California. Bonecrusher Smith with a big grin from Marvis as he came out. On our card, we've got Frazier ahead. The right hand by Smith landed, and he enjoyed the feel of that one.
Tim, I mentioned earlier, he's not a deadpan fighter. You can watch his face and see how the fight's going. 1 minute he's discouraged, next minute he's all charged up. And he shows the emotion on his face.
Frazier on the ropes right above us, and Bonecrusher pounding away.
Nailed him then, Tim. Nailed him with a right hand. Just don't know what Marvis is doing. I don't know why he's on the ropes. He can get off. He's allowing Smith to get set.
Round 8, overhand right lead by Frazier. Just got a little piece of the chin of Smith. Frazier in and out of kind of a peekaboo look, trying to bore his way in, but he's not being very busy in this round.
Well, he's making Smith work, giving him a target, making Smith throw punches, but he's not countering. He's not punching back. All he has to do is really just move his hands, throw little short punches. Not that wide punch, little short ones. Now, in California, Tim, they stop the clock, they wash his mouthpiece out and put it back in. It's a California rule.
All right, now in that case there, it looked like Frazier just spit it out. It didn't come from a blow. He just kind of lost it as he threw a punch.
Tim, I think the effort of the punch, I think, just blew the mouthpiece out.
Exactly right. All right, so this round will be a little longer than the normal 3 minutes in actual time, but not in the round time.
Bonecrusher's trying to set him up with that jab to nail him with that big right hand, Tim. But he's pawing with the jab instead of snapping it out.
He uses that just like a measuring rod. It doesn't have any impact on it at all. Under a minute to go. Round 8 scheduled for 10. Smith may be wondering how many punches he's got left here in this grueling paced fight, because he just seems to want to land one big one. He's had Frazier down once in round 5. Coming to the end of the 8th round. Oh, sorry, we've still got another 30 seconds remaining in round 8. Allowing for the time delay when they put the good right piece back.
Good right to the body by Smith, Tim.
Now Frazier appearing to be a little more weary. Final seconds of round number 8. Smith landed a right, and a right uppercut lead. Now Frazier bangs back with a right. That backs up Smith. Round number 9 of this heavyweight bout. There is James Bonecrusher Smith, Marvis Frazier in black. Don't forget the significance of this bout. Both of these boxers hoping that this will put them back among the top 3 or 4 heavyweights, an opportunity at another title try. They've both been there once, each losing to Larry Holmes when he was champion. The importance of the fight is not lost on these boxers. We've been talking to them, watching them in the gym. They train hard. They were both confident, and they know what it'll mean to their future.
Tim, the reason that the fight has slowed down, not only they're both a little tired, but they both gained respect for each other. When Bonecrusher was throwing those uppercuts and Marvis was hitting him on the chin with the left hook, that stopped Bonecrusher from throwing the uppercuts. And Marvis has got hit a few times, so he's not exactly crowding Smith now. They've both taken punishment.
Gil, on our card, we've got a close fight here because we've got a knockdown scored in round 5 by Smith. We've given him 3 rounds. We've given Frazier 4 with 1 even. So if we're close to what the judges are, then this could well go right to the 10-round decision. He settled in the 10th round.
Well, I know if I was in Marvis Frazier's corner, I'd tell him to stop moving his hands, start taking advantage of his hand speed.
He got a warning from the referee to watch his head as he did open a slight cut early in the fight.
Good left hook by Frazier, Tim, but just an arm punch and right on the button.
That little nick over the left eye of Bonecrusher Smith has been no problem at all for him. Good job in the corner. Again, the sense that Bonecrusher measuring for the one big punch.
But what is Marvis doing, Tim?
Not sure about his strategy, because early in the fight he was the active, busier guy after he kind of felt out Smith's power in round 1. He picked up the pace for the next 3 rounds and stayed busy.
Right now he's giving Bonecrusher plenty of room.
Another minute to go in round 9.
Very strange strategy by Marvis Frazier. Looked like a whirlwind for a while. Now he's looking to land a one big punch.
Well, you pointed out he's been most successful when he's been able to get close and work inside. He hasn't been trying to get in there. There's a big right uppercut. That straightened him right up.
Then he got nailed 3 good punches then inside Marvis. He's not punching is what it is, Tim. He's showboating. Maybe this will be the time he'll be the woulda, shoulda, coulda. I should have threw more punches.
Landed a left there, not too much sting on it. Somewhat listless round. The better punches certainly from Bonecrusher Smith. Now Frazier with a little rally here in the final seconds. Round number 10, and the way Gil Clancy and I look at this, this should be the decider, and there's some conversation from Smith to Frazier to begin this round. As we see it, we've got a very close fight. Frazier in black, Smith in red.
And Joe is telling Marvis to move. But you have to tell him in which direction to move. If he keeps backing up and moving away, he's just going to lose the fight by default.
Well, our card, we gave the last round, 8 and 9 to Smith, and it's mainly the same look here from Marvis Frazier.
And Tim, it wasn't that Smith did anything so great. It was just that Marvis stopped moving his hands. You know, it's all right to be a macho guy. Say, look, you didn't hurt me, but they're scoring points. Sometimes, Tim, maybe it's not a good idea to have a father in the corner. Joe may be worried about his son getting hit with a good hard shot. He's having him move and forgetting about having him win the fight.
Gil, I'm surprised to hear you say sometimes. Can you name me one circumstance where it's ever been any good for a professional fighter to have his father in a corner?
You're absolutely right, Tim.
Most of the examples, there aren't that many, but the ones we know about have proved to be not so good. That's too close a bond.
Don't understand this strategy on Marvis Frazier at all. I mean, Muhammad Ali used to be able to move around the ring for a round, do the Ali shuffle and everything else, and he wouldn't land a punch, and the judges would still give him the round. But that's not going to happen with Marvis.
And this would appear to be, I think both corners would think it appears to be the deciding round of the fight.
Tim, do you think it's possible that Marvis hurt his hand, or would have to say hands?
Well, anything's possible. We'll ask that question if we have the opportunity, depending on the outcome.
Good jab by Smith.
Under a minute to go in the fight. Strange kind of finish. First 5 rounds of this, furious action. No doubt they were tired from the pace, but strategically, a strange change, particularly by Frazier. And Smith, it seems to me, even now ought to be busier, too. I mean, the fight by our count is up for grabs.
Well, Tim, he's got a target that's running away, moving. A little difficult.
Under 30 seconds we go.
Tim, I still think this last 30 seconds can decide the fight.
Well, I do too, but a 2-1 at the most, the old cliche. Smith tried the big right-hand haymaker and missed it.
But at least he's trying.
Final seconds of the fight. Frazier lands a left to end the fight, and Smith with an uppercut at the bell, and that's it. And we'll be back with the decision here in Richmond, California. From the Memorial Auditorium, we'll find out who may go on back into the top ranks of the heavyweights. We'll be back in a moment. Decision between Marvis Frazier and James Bonecrusher Smith. Here is announcer Ben Langella.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner by a unanimous decision, Marvis.
The scores, but by unanimous decision, it goes to Marvis Frazier. It had to be a very close fight, but we do not have the decision numbers. We'll try and get those to you, but we are a little late here, folks, as they say on CBS Sports Sunday. Congratulations to Marvis Frazier. So for Gil Clancy, John Tesh, John Dockery, we want to remind you that next Saturday, doubleheader college basketball action on CBS Sports. And on Sunday afternoon, CBS Sports Sunday, the American Gymnastics Championship from Fairfax, Virginia. And this is Tim Ryan saying so long from Richmond, California.